What is up, Hawk fans? Let's go ahead and quickly talk about Iowa men's basketball. They got shellacked on the road against a top 25 Maryland team. This is yet another in a long line of blowout, shellacking losses in the Big Ten. I'm going to keep this short because at this point, there's not really much more to say about it. By the way, guys, if you saw my last video, I am feeling a lot better. Still not 100%, but I am feeling a lot better. And I do have the sunglasses back on because, yes, we are back in the loss column. We're commiserating. But I'm going to keep this short because at the end of the day, I just don't know what more can be said. So I'm hoping to keep this under 10 minutes, if not less. So let's just dive right into it, shall we? So just a quick summary of the game. Iowa did great in the first half. They were battling, they were competing, and they had a good chance of winning this game. By the way, guys, coming into this game, and I can't help it as an Iowa Hawkeye fan, and I think most fans are this way, where, Iowa wins a game on the road against Rutgers fairly decisively. I mean, it wasn't a blowout or anything like that, not like what Maryland did to Iowa, but Iowa did a good job. And as a fan, you're able to, and I'm probably better than most, as you guys know, I'm very open and honest about Iowa sports. You always have in the back of your mind that little shred of, well, maybe this will be the turning point. Maybe things will improve from henceforth. Maybe this will be the game. So I thought, honestly, if there was another quad one victory that Iowa could get, not that, and there's a good chance, guys, Rutgers, the victory Iowa just had over Rutgers, it's just hanging on by the thinnest of margins as a quad one victory. It's defeating a team on the road ranked 1 through 75. And last I checked, Rutgers is right at 75. But nonetheless, it was a step in the right direction. And I looked at Iowa's upcoming schedule, and I looked at, okay, because I can't help but think it. I'm a former Division I athlete. I can't help but think, okay, what does Iowa have to do to get an NCAA tournament? And of course, I'm a huge Iowa Hawkeye fan. What do they have to do to get into the tournament? I can't help but think that way. And so I look at the schedule, and I say to myself, you know what? Maryland is actually a great opportunity for Iowa to pick up a victory. I don't know if they decided to stay actually on the East Coast for a week, or if they played Rutgers, came back to Iowa, and traveled back. I think there's a good chance that they just stayed out there for the East Coast trip. Those types of trips are tough because on one hand, yes, as far as travel goes, it would be easier just to stay out there. But you also don't have the amenities of your home environment. But I thought to myself, okay, this would be a good opportunity. Maryland, yeah, they're a good team, but I think this is a winnable game. It definitely is a quad one game, and it's not going to be easy. But some of these other games I think would be a lot harder than this one, especially Iowa riding high off a victory, especially if they could get Drew Thelwell back, which of course they didn't. And for the first half, it looked like that was going to be the case. Iowa was leading in the first half 51-47. Again, I would have liked to have seen a slightly better defensive performance. But not bad. And then in the second half, Iowa proceeded to score 1 point in the first 4 to 5 minutes of play. They came into the half with 51 points, second half, and they had 52 with about 16 minutes to go in the entire freaking game. At the Division I level, guys, when you're playing a team that is a top 25 team, that is not a recipe for success. You're not going to win tough games on the road when in the first 5 minutes you can barely score more than 5 points. That's a problem. It's a huge problem. And it just got worse from there. The second half total ended up being 54-24. So Maryland outscored Iowa by 30 points in the second half. And just think how crazy that is, that Iowa, not only did they allow Maryland to score 54 points in the second half, but to be limited to 24 points is astounding. That's astounding. And I don't want to make this a big old stats fest here, but you look at Iowa's stats. You know, you have 14 points from Peyton Sandfort, 10 rebounds. Not his worst performance, but not his best. 11 points, 8 rebounds from Lajai Dembele. Nice to see him take a little bit of a step forward. 14 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists from Seydou Traore in 17 minutes. Again, not bad. Not bad. Brock Harding did not play very well. He had 5 points, 7 assists, 2 rebounds. But again, could have been worse. Where Iowa was really let down was Josh Dix, who continues to be very, very inconsistent. And he had 5 points, 3 assists, and 0 rebounds in 27 minutes. And you can totally tell that he was struggling because he only played 27 minutes. And Price Sandfort played 30 minutes, had 15 points, 3 rebounds. Evan Bronze played 15 minutes, had 6 points. That's one thing that I will say about Fran that I've liked of late is he is willing to do what is necessary to get if guys are not performing, he's going to sit them down. It's in all likelihood, it's too little too late, but still, it's better than nothing. But and then you compare this and you look at Maryland. Look, this is their starting 5, guys. 16 points, 12 rebounds from Julian Reese. 18 points, 13 rebounds from Derek Queen. 26 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists from Jacoby Gillespie. Rodney Rice, 18 points. And Selton Miguel, 17 points. That says it all right there. Their starting 5 was able to get whatever they wanted. They were able to do whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, however they wanted, and that's how Iowa lost the game. The bench production really wasn't there. They only had the only guy that scored off the bench was Jordan Geronimo, who had 6 points. And then lastly, the team stats. Maryland shot 58%, almost 60% from the floor. In other words, Iowa gave up almost 60%. Iowa shot 43%, 3-point percentage. Iowa allowed Maryland to shoot 46%, while Iowa shot 29.6%. Iowa only shot 6 free throws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 free throws. Maryland shot 13. The rebounds was 42-29. Tell me if we have not seen this before. The defensive rebounds was 32-16. Okay, and by the way, guys, just as a reminder, this is 2 Big Ten programs battling it out, and somehow this is what we're getting. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, guys. Assists 18-16. in favor of Maryland. Blocks 4-2 in favor of Maryland. Steals 7-6 in favor of Maryland. The only stat that Iowa did better is they had 4 less turnovers than Maryland. I said I wanted to keep this under 10 minutes. That's always easier said than done. This is the last thing that I'll say. This Iowa team is not an NCAA tournament team. Anything is possible, but don't expect it. I'm still going to continue to cover this team, but they're not an NCAA tournament team. Even with Owen Freeman, they were not an NCAA tournament team. They just have not taken the strides forward this year necessary to become an NCAA tournament team. And you can make the case even before the year started, they weren't an NCAA tournament team. But a lot of this has to do, of course, with how Fran McCaffery coaches, and you guys know I have clamored for the past 2 years for Fran McCaffery to find ways to find minutes for guys like Evan Bronze, for guys like Riley Mulvey. And I'm not saying that they're the saving grace, because they're not. But you have to find ways to get certain guys minutes to see what you have and see what you can become. Fran McCaffery is oftentimes, he is far too willing to just go with whatever he has at the beginning of the year, or the only time he's willing to make any change is when it's too little, too late, and everything's against the wall. Their backs against it's done. It's too late. And this year is a prime example. We're finally seeing some rotational changes, but what this is 26 games into the season, guys. Iowa's 14-11. 25 games into the season. It's too late. It's too late. So Iowa is not an NCAA tournament team. I don't know that, and so many people were trying to gas up the fact that Fran McCaffery was emotional after the Rutgers game. I don't care about that stuff. It doesn't matter. That's just a way for the media to get you guys to emotionally get involved or detached or whatever, so you read their articles. It doesn't matter. What we need to look at are the results. And to me, what is worse than the fact that Iowa is not an NCAA tournament team, or what is worse than their 14-11 record, is the fact that we have not seen improvements this entire year from the areas that need improved. Rebounding, defense, toughness on the road, and we just haven't seen it. Not even this much improvement has been made. And that's a problem. That is a problem. And I know that I've been saying to you guys that I'm going to give Fran McCaffery 2 years. And I'm not willing to make sweeping statements yet, but I am very, very, very concerned about the lack of improvement that we have seen this year from the Iowa Hawkeyes. We barely saw it last year, but last year was more of a senior-laden team that was able to be tough rather than Iowa making big improvements. I think it was more so they had some veteran guys that were able to kind of will the team to perform and continue to perform at certain spots down the stretch. Obviously, they didn't make the NCAA tournament, but this year's team doesn't have that as much. Really all you have is Peyton Sandfort. And to look at Iowa in the first couple of weeks of the year and looking at them now, they're basically the same team, if not actually have taken steps backward in certain aspects of the game. And I'm very concerned that, even if I think that this Iowa team does have a decent amount of talent coming back for next year, I am concerned that Fran McCaffrey just is no longer the guy to help his team improve to where it needs to improve to take this program to heights that we haven't seen in years, aka the Sweet 16 or above. And it is it's been concerning that Iowa is over and over and over this bad defensively. After hearing all offseason that Iowa was working diligently and so hard on the defensive end of the ball, to find that they are just as bad, if not worse this year, that's a big problem. And so that's probably the biggest thing that I'm looking at right now when evaluating whether to give Fran McCaffrey one more year as a content creator and as a fan is, do I think that Fran McCaffrey has it in him to have his teams improve? And I'm just not so sure of that anymore. This team has not improved this year, and they sure as whatever have not improved from last year. If anything, they've actually taken some steps back. So Iowa is 145th in defensive efficiency this year. And last year, they were 157th. But last year, they were a little bit better offensively. They were 16th, I believe. And, shoot, sorry guys, it got all messed up. Let me get back out of here. And this is going to be the last point that I make, because I don't want to talk anymore about them. I promised myself I would. They're 29th in offensive efficiency. So not only in some of the areas that Iowa usually isn't good in have they taken steps back, but they've actually taken steps back in the areas that they are good in. And I don't think that gets enough credit because usually Iowa teams offensively, and this is a huge area that Iowa has taken a step back this year, they are the team that finds a way to make shots down the stretch because they have a free-flowing offense. But that hasn't been the case this year. This year, there's been so many situations where they go on droughts, long periods where they're not scoring the basketball. And as far as efficiency goes, they have taken a step backwards in efficiency. So you can just go across the board, guys, and Iowa is not a better team in almost any facet from last year, or if you just want to condense it from the beginning of the year to the end of the year right now. Honestly, guys, I am stunned that Iowa is only 14-11. I'm stunned. All right, guys, I don't want to keep this video any longer. Just to wrap this up, again, they're not an NCAA tournament team. I'm going to be thinking and really evaluating whether I believe we can give Fran McCaffrey one more year. It's not looking very good, guys. And I know Iowa did just beat Rutgers, and Maryland is a good team, but again, I'm not looking necessarily at the wins and losses. I'm looking at Iowa as a whole. Do I see progress? Do I see development? Do I see inching forward? And maybe they're taking smaller baby steps, and then we're going to get a big step forward eventually. It just doesn't seem as much because they haven't, it's been a bunch of small steps. So anyways, guys, that is it. Another loss for the Iowa Hawkeyes on the road against Maryland. They definitely have a lot of opportunities coming up to pick up quad 1 and quad 2 victories. I would not hold my breath, though. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like, comment. You guys know the drill. Definitely hang in there, Iowa Hawkeye fans. I know it's tough. And last but not least, DBAP. Don't be a pussy, will out in facts or feelings, because your feelings just matter. I love you, Hawk fans. See you guys next time. Bye-bye. Go Hawks.